This is Psychologist Yi Lin, and I have a message about education that your course instructor Shaman Gabriel agrees with. Continuing your education in shamanism is not optional, it is essential. The path of the shaman has never been a static identity. It is a lifelong discipline of refinement, awareness, and integration. In traditional cultures, initiation was only the beginning. Training continued for years, sometimes decades. The modern world is no different. If anything, it requires even more discernment. Shamanism today exists in a landscape filled with misinformation, fantasy projections, and spiritual bypassing. Without continued study, it is easy to confuse intensity for depth, experience for wisdom, or symbolism for embodiment. Ongoing education protects you from stagnation and distortion. It sharpens perception. It strengthens discernment. It keeps you humble. True shamanic development requires grounded frameworks. Emotional intelligence must evolve. Psychological awareness must deepen. Nervous system regulation must become stable and embodied. The more you learn, the more precise your self-observation becomes. You begin to notice subtle patterns in your reactions, relationships, and leadership. You recognize shadow faster. You integrate faster. You respond instead of react. That is why I always recommend returning to structured, well-articulated texts instead of relying solely on peak experiences or fragmented online content. Grounded teachings provide containment. They offer language for what can otherwise feel abstract. They bridge spiritual experience with practical integration. For example, Shamanic Essentials Unleashed offers a clear framework for applying ancient principles in modern life. It strips away theatrics and focuses on awareness, ritual discipline, shadow integration, and emotional mastery. It reminds us that modern shamanism is about embodiment, not performance. Likewise, the works of thinkers like Carl Jung deepen our understanding of shadow, archetypes, and the unconscious. Jung's exploration of the psyche complements shamanic journeying by grounding symbolic experience in psychological insight. Without this grounding, spiritual exploration can drift into projection or inflation. The teachings of Joseph Campbell illuminate the hero's journey, the universal structure of initiation, descent, and return. This mirrors the shamanic path and helps practitioners contextualize their struggles as developmental stages rather than personal failures. Similarly, the writings of Mircea Eliade provide historical and anthropological context for shamanic traditions. Understanding the roots of these practices fosters respect and prevents cultural distortion or appropriation. Further education also strengthens integrity. If you guide others, whether formally or informally, your responsibility increases. You must understand trauma dynamics. You must recognize projection and transference. You must know when to hold space and when to refer out. Continued learning is an ethical commitment. Another reason ongoing study matters is integration. Insights fade without reinforcement. Reading, revisiting teachings, and engaging with structured coursework reactivate awareness. Each time you return to a foundational concept, you see it from a higher vantage point. What once seemed basic reveals new layers of meaning. Education also refines language. The ability to articulate your experiences clearly is part of mastery. When you can explain emotional regulation, shadow integration, or initiation in grounded terms, you embody stability. This clarity builds trust in yourself and with others. Most importantly, continued study keeps you evolving. The shaman is not someone who has arrived. The shaman is someone who remains in relationship with learning. Nature evolves, consciousness evolves, your nervous system evolves, your identity evolves. To stop studying is to freeze growth. That is why I consistently recommend grounded, structured texts and trainings. They provide both stability and spiritual flow. They honour mystery while maintaining psychological clarity. They encourage embodiment instead of escapism. The path of modern shamanism demands maturity, and maturity is cultivated through disciplined, ongoing education.
My belief is that the mind is extremely powerful. It's not the answer, but it's extremely powerful in what we believe we create. Thank you for joining me on this little picnic time with the watermelon. What would you like to know that you think I might be able to answer?
About anything?
Yeah.
From any perspective?
Anything.
When did you first really know, like, when did it really click in? Not just on a logical level, but a other level that just how it all works, how this not all works. I don't. That's too big a question, but like we were talking about that intelligence that is out there, but it's actually in here and it's everywhere.
It's right here. The journey of awareness has many epiphanies, so I had many of them, like many moments of like clarity and feeling oneness and knowing of like, wow, there's something very intelligent here. That is the knowing and awareness that I've always had, that I had in connection with my mom, which is why I always trusted to follow my intuition, because I knew my intuition was connected to that intelligence. That's like our purest form of knowledge, like the way people think. Thinking is the smartest place. I always think intuition is the smartest place, because that's in line with...
And you always had that?
Yeah, that awareness. Yeah. From college, early on.
Okay, so before that, there wasn't that?
It was there. It was always just gentle.
Right.
It was gentle.
So there was an awareness there that there was something else.
Yeah, and then the story of life just unfolded. And then I was able to connect the dots, and then the awareness was always there. Everyone, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe. I always knew that. I just knew it. I placed it on many things. I knew what it was. Yeah, I couldn't place it anywhere or call it anything, but I knew that's where everything was like coming from. From yoga to everything, was just this energy, and that's why I was so fascinated with the power of the mind, because we're connected to it, and yet not only are we connected to it, but we have the ability to create from it and like choose what to create, which is an extremely powerful thing. So yeah, that always fascinated me.
Young age.
Yeah, I mean, it really kicked off in college. I had a friend, a roommate, not a roommate, but he lived across from me when I lived on, not on Pearl Street, but on the Hill in college, which is like a place that's, you live a bunch above like a bakery or something like that. A bunch of people are walking back and forth. A lot of traffic. Yeah, and I would make caramel popcorn. He always loved the smell on it. He would knock on it. He was like, "Yo, you making some popcorn right now?" Like, yeah, how do you know? Yeah, so I would always share popcorn with him. And yeah, he brought up the stuff about aliens that I used to be fascinated with, and with my mom. Like when I was in high school, we would connect about shit like that. And yeah, we started to connect about that, and then he showed me something that I haven't really saw before, and then that kind of took me on a journey for itself. It sparked, well, in one way, on the surface, And after that, that sparked something inside of me, like I don't know what it was, but it was just like a remembering. Because I knew all of that, and then
Kind of tucked it away.
it tucked it, yeah, and then it showed itself again, and he took me a little bit deeper into it, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, man, why'd I stop this? Yeah. And then, yeah, and then from there it was gone, because then I started to understand energy. I started to tap into that more. I would really read books and try to understand it. And I would find teachers that I felt really knew it, because they would give me the chills when they spoke, or when I just knew. They would give me clarity, like Alan Watts. So I would buy all his books. And it got to the point where listening to the lecture was so easy, because I would read his books and I could feel like I could predict what he would say. It was just like
You could feel that.
I could feel that, and then I could speak from that. So like my ability to speak and articulate was much different when I was reading. There's something within certain people that that's more of a metaphor to saying this, but it might be very practical and legitimate. But it's something that it's in certain individuals that call them and allow them to be deeper vessels and listeners, or have the ability to listen and hear certain psychoactive substances. And some of those are where the basis of shamanism and deep medicine work come from. So I think it's that, and where that comes, that what that is, that yeah, that goes deep. Who knows? It's like a little something. It's got to be DNA, because DNA is what grows the whole structure. And maybe it grew my structure where the neurons of my left hemisphere don't fire as much in this kind of part, but they do really a lot in this one. So it's like, you think this way, and I'm more over here, and that's all DNA. How does that happen?
Or if you're talking about DNA, is that more of a spiritual DNA? Like, it doesn't have to be like a physical transferring of something, but energetically it gets passed.
Yeah, I think it's all the same thing, because what grows the DNA, I think it's that intelligence that you're speaking of. They spoke of before, it's the energy of everything. Do you have the thought, or does the thought come to you through the energy moving? Is it like the chi that has all the intelligence and all the force, and it's just us as a vehicle that can really download it instantly? My belief is that the mind is extremely powerful. It's not the answer, but it's extremely powerful. And what we believe we create. And I do believe we have the ability to heal ourselves, which means we have the ability to create ourselves and recreate ourselves. And I believe we have the ability to like detoxify ourselves and cleanse ourselves to the point where we can be in a sauna and be on a cleanse for a month, water cleanse for a week, and like really go down to our cells where it's detoxing, and we're visualizing these cells being replenished with what are another cell that can take to something else. It's our ability to visualize and to rebuild ourselves with intention, and to cleanse ourselves and to clear that old. I believe that's possible.
Irrespective of where you've come from.
No matter where you come from.
And no matter if you have that kind of lineage that we talked about.
Wouldn't matter. It's just those people that I'm talking about maybe are a little more receptive to that one kind, like the way, certain people from this part of Africa, which is proven it's like a sports gene, they're all the sprinters of the world come from like 2% region of, that's the same with medicine work and all that type of shit. And so that's why I say when you become aware of it, you gotta tap into your superpower. And that was my superpower, and I became aware of, so I tapped into it.